Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Arianna here. I'm a naturopathic doctor at Anderson Family Chiropractic and Naturopathic Care. And I'm hopping on to talk a little bit more about immune health and what we can do to naturally support our body's ability to heal and restore function. And so with that, I will share the presentation here. All right. Let's see if I can make my head a little bigger here. Hi, everybody. All right, so oops. This video is for educational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for individualized diagnosis and treatment by a qualified healthcare provider. Communications by Anderson Family Chiropractic and Naturopathic Care on our online platforms are not privileged communications and do not create a doctor-patient relationship. So when we're out here talking, it's just about learning and getting more education on how to support our body's ability to heal and restore function. And so today we're going to talk about the immune system. We're just about going into what they call cold and flu season, right? And we've had a big long year of dealing with the new viral immune challenge. And so I think of anything that we can do to support our body's ability to deal with this is learning ways on how we can actually make our immune system stronger and healthier naturally. So that's what we're going to talk about today. It's just kind of funny. I'm sick. Looks like I'll be sleeping and laying in bed all day. Oh, wait. That's right. I'm a mom. Just doesn't work that way, right? So best way is to find ways of being able to help our body deal with being sick, and because we don't really have the option to lay in bed all day, right? So why is it the information we're going to talk about today different and more effective? The way that we approach healthcare here in this particular office is that we actually think it's unwise to try to suppress symptoms. Most symptoms that we're experiencing when we're sick are our immune system trying to work, trying to clean out our cells, trying to rid itself of waste and potential pathogens. So when we suppress those symptoms, it really actually makes the problem worse in the long run. So rather, we would want to support the body's defense mechanisms, make them stronger to prevent and handle ailments. So we're big fans of whole food nutrition. So we're always looking for ways to increase foods that are going to support our natural ability to heal and restore function. People that are on programs over the course of a program, we look for ways of adding foods in that are going to help your body as opposed to things like Twinkies. I know they taste good, but they're not very helpful in this regard. So whole food nutrition is a big part of what we do. And it is very commonly overlooked in the areas of immunity, like things like that we need to support, like the stomach, blood, bones, and liver. We don't think of those things as being part of our immune defense, but they are, and they need to be nourished and fed. We're going to learn the nutrition needed that is not found in drugstores, but is very necessary for avoiding colds, and flu. And we focus on a solution to the problem of immune burdens, not symptom cover-up. So our immune system 101. So organs of the immune system, it's interesting, right? And the immune system isn't one organ or gland, it's actually a whole bunch of them, right? They all work together holistically. So these are just a couple that are major influences over our immune response. So you can see tonsils and adenoids, if you still have them, right up at the top here. You have lymph nodes and lymphatic vessels. Literally, these are just a couple places they're noted on here, but literally they're all over your body. They're everywhere. It's a similar system like your vascular system, where there's like little tubes that they run through, like a vein or a capillary, but it's actually for a liquid called lymph, and that's how you get rid of waste from your cells in your body. So that system really is important. I think one of the biggest upstream problems to people having impaired immune function is when your lymphatic system is congested. So we spend a lot of time and energy supporting that system. So not only that you are able to support immune health, where your body goes and actually has to attack and break down things, but that we're actually able to get rid of that waste efficiently. Otherwise, we just have a congested body and system, and so that's a big deal. We also have your spleen, which most people don't know about. We've heard of it, but we don't know much about it. It's a filter, and it's also a big part of our immune system. Peyer's patches, bone marrow, you've probably heard of that, for B cells, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Your appendix, which we've been told forever is just vestigial, not true. It actually plays an important role in our immune system. It helps to govern some of the things that are happening in the gut as it relates to the microbiome. And if you're interested in more information about that, you can go check out one of the YouTube videos we have on our digestion, our first foundational pillar. I think it's like maybe less than 10 minutes, and I talk a lot about digestion, and I talk about the appendix in that too. And then I think it's also in the second foundational pillar, which is detoxification. The third foundational pillar, which talks about the immune health as well. And those are shorter YouTube lectures if you're interested in just popping on those and see those. I think all of them are under 10 minutes. And then the thymus, which is right here, and that's kind of the general of your immune system. It's a gland. And so those are just those are some of the organs and glands that are part of that immune response. So immunology is the study of bodily functions and responses by which the body neutralizes, counteracts, or destroys foreign substances, as well as cells of its own that have become damaged or altered. The immune system is the body of cells that carry out all of those immune responses. And so those organs and glands that you were just looking at, those are part of that process. It really is more of a whole system, not necessarily just one organ. And so it consists of a diverse collection of cells found in blood, organ, tissues, all throughout the body. So our immune system is precisely that, a system. So it's not a single entity, as I mentioned. And to function properly, it requires balance and harmony amongst all of those organs and glands. It's still much is unknown, actually. We're learning things about the immune system every day, every year, the intricacies and interconnectedness of the immune system response. And so there's still a lot to learn. And so I think it's important that all people in healthcare are humble learners, because there's still so much about the body that we don't know, and should always be looking for new advances and new research to help further our understanding of how our body works. So first line of defense, not really what most people would think of, is actually your stomach. It's stomach acid. So when there is proper acidity in the stomach, and also that's under pillar 1, there's that other YouTube video I said that was under 10 minutes on digestion, talks about this a lot. So if we were to bring in bacteria or some other type of fungus, protozoa, or whatever comes in through our food, that's going to cause a problem in our system. If you have enough acidity in the stomach, which your stomach makes acid, and it really is actually made to be a pH of about 2, which is really acid. But if it is the proper pH, what happens is those things just get burned out. So that's your first line of defense. If you have a proper stomach acidity, they're going to get killed upon entry. And so, but the problem is that most of us actually have depleted stomach acid due to improper diet, age, and drugs, such as the Nexiums and things like that, because those actually turn off your body's ability to make acid. And if that's the case, you're going to have either a neutral or possibly even alkaline environment in the stomach. And so those potential pathogens can go right into the intestinal tract, because those, we don't have a proper acidity in there. So that's step 1. Step 2, the second line of defense, part of that is white blood cells. So if invaders actually get within the body, then white blood cells begin to be created, and they will attack those foreign invaders. One of the things that's really important for that is ionizable calcium. And that's one of the best ways to assist those white blood cells. What's interesting too, and important to note, is that calcium has to be in your diet, whether it come in through a supplement or if it comes in through like dark leafy green vegetables and things like that, they have a lot of calcium. You have to have proper acidity in the stomach to ionize the calcium for it to be able to be absorbed into the blood well. Another issue with the thing like the PPIs, proton pump inhibitors such as Nexium, and that turns off your acid in your stomach, and or things that would neutralize the acid, such as even natural things like baking soda. I mean, you figure it's natural, but the problem is it's actually neutralizing acid in your stomach. So if you don't have enough acidity in the stomach, it's going to be very difficult for your body to ionize the calcium, which is important for it to be able to be brought back into the bloodstream for use. So that's a big thing. And then these are stationed virtually everywhere in your body. So your body can make white blood cells at will, anywhere. So it's super important. So T cells are often called natural killer cells. And they recognize infected human cells and cancer cells. And so their job is to go and kind of clean up shop. And so the T is for thymus, which we talked about before when we were doing Immunology 101. It's right here. That gland, you need a healthy thymus gland to be able to mature and be effective in fighting invaders. So another reason why it's so important to have proper nutrition that's coming in to help support those glands. All right, so part of the second line of defense is inflammation. So when you have white blood cells, inflammation is actually a natural part of that process. So let's talk about that, inflammatory response. So injured body cells release chemicals called histamines, which begin the inflammatory response. Capillaries will then dilate. Pyrogens are released, reach the hypothalamus, and then that will trigger your temperature to rise. Pain receptors will activate. White blood cells will flock to the infected area like sharks to blood, and like shark to blood in the water. The goal is to collect, inactivate, or destroy dead or damaged cells and or foreign particles. This sets the stage for repair. So it's important to note that inflammation is natural and should not be suppressed. Oftentimes when we have these reactions, we think that they're bad and try to suppress them with like anti-inflammatories. And the problem is that's part of the process. And so that's part of that second line of defense. And so what we want to do is support that process to help resolve it more efficiently, not turn it off. So proper minerals and vitamins allow inflammation to pass quickly and be less severe. The three of the main nutrients that are needed for that are vitamin A, vitamin C, and the bioflavonoid rutin. But bioflavonoids are needed to help cell permeability so that you can get those nutrients into the cell well. And those, actually, interestingly enough, those things are all in red peppers. I don't know if you like red peppers. I hope you do, because it has a lot of vitamin A in the form of beta carotene, has a lot of vitamin C, and it also has bioflavonoids. It's rich in them. So especially during this season, if you can add those into your diet on a daily basis, that's going to be to your benefit. So our third line of defense is antibodies, which of course most of you are probably aware of what those are. But that's actually, if most infections never make it past the first and second level of defense, those are there for a reason to clear out the majority of invaders, right? But when they do, B cells are needed to produce antibodies. And so B cells stand for bone. So you remember we were talking about T cells, that's for the thymus, that's those, that second line of defense, right? So this is B cells made in the bone, and that's our third line of defense. And so our immune system starts to produce these, but healthy bone food is needed, including calcium, certain forms of calcium, and other minerals to help with this process. Now, I'll just quickly note that we do have some immune disorders and allergies. A lot of people are afflicted with that. So when the immune system recognizes harmless foreign particles as serious threats, and then histamine releases occur, which we kind of talked about in the last slide. So if there is an overwhelming amount of histamine that has to be eliminated in the body, it's better, instead of causing your body not to make histamine, because that's part of the immune response, is to help support your body's ability to get rid of histamine. And that happens through the liver. And so if there is congestion of the liver, which a lot of people have in this country, we help to support that so that your liver is able to be decongested and it can clear the histamine out of your system more efficiently. There are nutrients that you can use to do that, and we definitely use those here in this office with people that are on design clinical nutrition programs. But what's important about immune disorders, such as, when it comes with allergies, the problem with that is that oftentimes they're chronic. And if that's the case, what will happen is over year, the immune system starts to become a little weak because it's constantly on high alert. And so that's where it's really important to help support your liver, help support the whole body's immune response through proper nutrition, to help reduce that chronic allergy response, so that your immune system responses do not also start to weaken. So who's at risk for acute infections? Young children can be, if they have developing immune systems. So there might be certain things that will that their bodies haven't dealt with yet, and so they'll go through acute immune challenges sometimes, which are not bad. Those are good. That just means that their bodies are building defense, and that's a good thing. We want to make sure their bodies are supported so that they can do this in an efficient way. The elderly, obviously, because they're at the later seasons of life, and their systems have probably had a lot of extra use, and so they also need to have extra support so that their bodies are able to deal with the immune challenges that happen with acute infection. Those who are under daily stress, so that also depletes our body of the vitamins and other minerals that are necessary for us to be able to have a proper immune response, also vitamin C. Those that are exposed to environmental stressors, which honestly is all of us, some people more than others, but chemicals and heavy metals that we might breathe in and deal with, even electromagnetic pollution that your body's dealing with on a cellular level. Those are all environmental stresses, and your body will need more vitamins and minerals to help support your body's ability to deal with that on a cellular level. So if you are under chronic stress in that way, oftentimes you have an increased risk for acute infections. Obviously, those with poor diets and lifestyle choices. So if we're not getting out and moving, if we're not drinking a lot of water, if we're not eating bringing in nutrients, the building materials that our body needs to make new cells, then we'll be more at risk for acute infections. Those with chronic illnesses, because then again, kind of in the same situation as with chronic allergies, the body is just under a lot of stress from having to deal with illnesses in the body, and that depletes the nutrients if you were to come under an acute immune challenge. So these are just some of the things, obviously you can see the McDonald's slide down there. Not the best place to get our nutrition, but a lot of people, if people don't know, a lot of times that's in their daily diet, and you get a lot of actual toxicity from fast food. If you have it, it should be something that's very rare and not regular. I'd say in the last year, one thing that's been good, there's a lot of things that have been challenging in the last year, but one thing that's been very good is I think more people are eating at home, and they're spending more time and money on home prepared meals, which is to our benefit, which is great, because if we are worried about acute infections, that's one of the best ways to support it. So Benjamin Franklin has been quoted as saying, "An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of a cure." And I agree with him. So I think that if we spend more time supporting our body's natural ability to heal and restore function, that's true prevention. So it's not about being in a bubble and never being around microbes, because folks, let me tell you something, they've been here a lot longer than we have. Um, we're meant to be able to live in harmony with them. And so what would be better is to support our body's natural ability to have strong, healthy cells, and which is the best possible way, which is terrain theory. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that. If any of the patients you want me to discuss that with you, please let me know. But it's this idea that if we have a strong, healthy terrain, which is our cells, they're not going to be able to be attacked by pathogens because they're strong. And that's true. We see this to be true. We see it in nature. So let's focus our time, our energy, and our money on building up our body and in its cells so that these microbes are just a non-issue. So prevention. Number one, reduce stress. And I know, boy, everybody knows this, but especially this year, stress has probably been way more than normal. And so, but it's so important to be cognizant of our stress levels. We will burn through nutrients so fast when we are under chronic stress, and it will require you to bring in greater amounts of nutrients because you're burning them up so fast with your stress responses. So it's important that we find ways of being able to reduce stress. There are certain nutrients like in herbs like ashwagandha that can be super helpful. It does help to can harmonize our stress response. So there's certain things we can do to support that. And then other things like spending time in the Bible, if you are a believer, meditating, finding time in nature, whatever it is that kind of fills your bucket, find those things so that you can reduce stress. It really is an important part of managing your own health and how you support your immune system. Minimizing eating sugar and simple starches or simple carbs. Those things really do put stress on multiple systems, and many of them that are needed for the immune response. So reduce those. I know, right? If we just celebrated Thanksgiving, so maybe on that day we have a little bit of a pass, but on any other day, we really got to keep those at a minimum. You need to eat more fresh vegetables and fruits, especially vegetables. Best rule of thumb is twice as many vegetables as fruits in a day. It's important for the phytonutrients that are in them, as I mentioned, like with red peppers, loaded with vitamin A, vitamin C, and bioflavonoids. But there's also a lot of fiber in them, which is important for proper bowel function and also to feed certain beneficial microflora. They need fiber, and if you don't have enough fiber in your diet, they die off. So that's another important thing. Smoking. I know. I know that this can be hard. I know a lot of people that they really do have a hard time with that, but it really decreases cellular health. And so if you do, you need to make sure you're bringing in a lot of fresh vegetables and fruit, more than you would normally, like double, triple, because you need more antioxidants to deal with that cellular damage. And then just do your best to keep weaning yourself off of it. Rome wasn't built in a day. Just start small, wean yourself down, and get yourself off the cigarettes. Reducing alcohol intake, that can also put a lot of stress on your liver and other organs that are detoxification organs. Minimize exposure to chemicals. You can do this through healthier choices in your home. There are certain, like things that, your cleaners, your air fresheners, we actually get these little dryer balls that we put essential oils on so we can have nice smelling clothes without putting a lot of chemicals in our environment. Think about things that you use like in your dishwasher soap. I mean, that gets aerosolized everywhere. Air fresheners, if you're using those little plugins, those are full of chemicals. So there's a lot of things that we can do in our own home to minimize the exposure. There's a certain amount that we're always going to be around just because we're living in the industrial age and there's a lot of these chemicals that literally everywhere. So, but we can do what we can in our own home and our own environment. Begin walking and exercising regularly. I know this is tough when we're busy, but it is essential. Remember I was telling you about that lymphatic system earlier? It's real similar, like tributaries, so like the cardiovascular system, where there's this fluid running through called lymph, and that's how you get waste from cells out through the body. The problem is it is really similar in construct to your vascular system, except it doesn't have a pump. So the vascular system has your heart, right, to run that fluid through. Lymphatic system doesn't have that. The only way to get that moving is through movement. So you have to be moving, getting that lymph going. So there are some natural therapies that you can help with that to speed that along, and we support people through that in our design clinical nutrition programs. Getting proper sleep, and I know this is hard for everyone. One of the things you can do is get off of the bright screens late at night. That actually makes your, there's a gland behind your eyes in the brain area called the pineal. It is activated by light. So like, when you wake up and the sun's out, it tells the pineal the sun's out. And so we want to wake up. And then at night when the sun is low, it's darker and dimmer, and it tells the pineal, okay, it's time for bed. And then it makes melatonin and helps us to get sleepy. Well, if we're on, computer screens, phones really late, that light is sort of tricking the pineal into thinking it's still daylight. And so a lot of times that's just one thing that a lot of people are dealing with. So try and get off the electronics an hour or two before you want to go to bed, so that your body will actually start down-regulating in that way, so you'll be ready for sleep. So just touch on sugar real quick. It really can suppress immune function. So if you feel like you're going through, especially if you're going through an immune challenge, you need to stay away from sugars and refined starches like the plague, because it is absolutely going to interfere with your ability to deal with that immune challenge. So at an average consumption rate of 130 pounds of sugar per person per year, which is crazy, by the way, cell-mediated immunity is actually depressed by 50% for 120 minutes after sugar ingestion of 75 grams. Why is this? Well, this study down here is what showed that essentially the reason for that is that glucose competes with absorption into this, with vitamin C for absorption into cells. And so you need vitamin C for the immune response. So if your blood is saturated with glucose, you're going to inhibit its ability to bring in vitamin C by about 50%. So during an immune challenge, you need to stay away from things that are going to elevate blood sugar, so that your body is able to bring in vitamin C properly, so that it can engage in its activities efficiently. Sugar and soft drinks. Well, soft drinks are commonly consumed by people, especially children. Most soft drinks have 12 or more teaspoons of sugar per can, 12-ounce can. If a teaspoon has 3 grams of sugar, each can has 36 grams of sugar. So, based on the previous slide, you can see that 2 cans of soda can cause immunosuppression up to 50% for 2 hours. So if they're drinking a lot of soda, it can absolutely, just that can decrease their immune response. And so it's really important to get off the sodas. Oh, by the way, diet sodas are worse, but in different ways. So if you're going to do a diet and you're trying to get away from sugar, don't do aspartame, any of those artificial sweeteners. They are not good for you. Stevia is a better option. Obviously, pops in general are not great for you. But if you're going to do that, I would recommend something like Zevia, Z-E-V-I-A. And so it's a carbonated drink that has stevia as opposed to an artificial sweetener or sugar. So that would be something I would recommend. Also, healthy sleep. It's so important. We need about 7 to 9 hours per night. Fall asleep within 15 to 20 minutes of lying down is best. And you should wake up refreshed, as if your tank is filled. You start building healthy sleep habits as children, so this is important that we do this with our kids. Early to bed, early to rise does actually show benefits. It's funny, when people are on design clinical nutrition programs, oftentimes this actually happens where they start waking up earlier, like in between 6 and 6:30, sometimes before their alarms, and then they're tired earlier, and sometimes they'll kind of complain in that because they're not used to it. They're used to staying up late, getting stuff done, and and they like being able to sleep in, but really that's actually good. Your body should wake itself up early and then want to go to bed earlier. That's actually a good sign that your body is healing and restoring function. Exercise, again, super important for your lymphatic system and your muscles and your cardiovascular system. It does contribute to general good health and healthy immune system because of its role in moving lymph through the lymphatic system. Obviously, it promotes good circulation, which allows the cells and substances of the immune system to move through the body freely and do their job efficiently. It's usually okay to exercise with a cold, but not with a fever. So if you're really, you think you're dealing with a viral immune challenge, you really need to rest. And in most cases, if you think that you're dealing with an immune challenge, you just want to take it easy. Like walking is fine because you're moving that lymphatic system, that lymph through. And we want that, but if you're truly ill, you need to take care of yourself. Also, laughter, it boosts the immune system. Go out and look at some of the studies. There's a lot of studies on it. And so this is one of the things, like in the last year, where people have been living in states of fear and anxiety. This is a really concerning thing for a lot of doctors. I've seen a lot of doctors out there and scientists that is a huge, huge risk for immune function. Laughter boosts our immune function. We want to be able to stay in that sort of parasympathetic, which is part of your nervous system that is where you're relaxed and engages your detoxification systems and digestive systems and all that. If we're in a state of fight or flight all the time, those systems do not get initiated as they should. And therefore, our immune system function will be inhibited. So it's important that we find ways of being able to get into states of relaxation and laughter and find the joy in life. It's important. It's an important part of our health. And so, especially right now with all the crazy stuff going on, it's got to be a priority for you. You're gonna have to put it into your day, but it is an essential part of self-care. Here's a couple slides of different immune boosting foods. So grapefruit is another great option for vitamin C, along with red bell peppers. Cruciferous vegetables such as broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale, that kind of thing. Those are rich in antioxidants. They're also, they have a lot of calcium and other nutrients, but they have certain sulfur compounds that are needed for phase 2 liver detoxification. So for you to get rid of waste well, you do need the nutrients that are in cruciferous vegetables. Carrots, obviously, those have a lot of beta carotene, which is vitamin A. Cinnamon is an antiviral, antifungal. Now, not all cinnamon is created equal, and so you might want to go out and actually do a little research on cinnamon quills, like actual cinnamon. There's different parts of the cinnamon tree that are more effective than others. Oftentimes, cooking cinnamon is not doesn't have a lot of those active ingredients, phytochemicals. So do a little research on that before you buy cinnamon, because you could actually get a bigger bang for your buck if you're getting it from actual cinnamon cloves and not from the bark of the tree. Berries, obviously, huge in antioxidants. Mushrooms, huge immune system boosting minerals in them. There's zinc in them to a certain degree, but zinc is really the best way to get zinc. Anybody that comes in here knows it's green pumpkin seeds. They're called pepitos as well. 2 tablespoons a day. Kale, spinach, and Swiss chard, immune boosting foods. And then watermelon. It has a lot of vitamin A, C, and other antioxidants to help with immune function as well. So a lot of times people ask me why we should consider taking supplements that strengthen our immune system. Honestly, because one, our foods just have a fraction of the nutrients that they had in the 60s, and the USDA has even confirmed that, like 40 to 60% less is crazy. That has to do with our soil being depleted of these nutrients, and so if it's not in the soil, it's not going to be in food. So, and especially if we're not eating, 5 to 7 vegetables and fruit a day, which most people are not, we have to get it in another form if we want our bodies to run right. And so we can do that through nutritional and herbal supplements. We in this office use whole food, so basically they're just food pellets that we use to help support our body's ability to heal and restore function. It does help reduce the risk of infection and illness, and it can help us get over an illness much faster by reducing severity and duration. So supplements in general, as I said, taking a daily whole food multivitamin, so it's coming from actual food sources and minerals. It brings health benefits of many times beyond any possible beneficial, possibly beneficial effects on the immune system. It really is a whole body support. Now, taking mega doses of single isolated vitamins and minerals is not necessarily a good long-term strategy. There's actually studies out there that shows that it can be a detriment to the body's functions over time. So more is not necessarily better. We want quality over quantity, and bringing in these nutrients in our food is foundational, and then we can supplement where we are having a hard time. For instance, like say you don't eat a lot of fish because you just don't like it. In those cases, we can bring in a supplement that has a good high quality fish oil that will bring DHA and EPA, which are essential fats for your brain and heart, in through a supplement. So cold and flu prevention and review. So eat wholesome, unrefined foods as much as you possibly can. Avoid sugar and simple starches. Stop smoking. Drink alcohol in moderation. Avoid and reduce stress. Stay active or exercise regularly, walking 30 minutes a day if possible. Drink lots of water. The rule of thumb is half of your body weight in ounces every day. So if you do get sick, what do? So one, allow yourself to be sick. A lot of times people are like, I just can't get sick. Well, if you're sick, it's your body telling you that you need to pay attention to it. So allow yourself to be sick. Rest, lots of rest, lots of fluids, good clear fluids, like a lot of water, bone broth, those types of things. Clean supplements, whole food clean supplements can help with that. Chiropractic adjustments, right? Big, huge immune booster. We had a couple different articles on our Facebook business page this month about how chiropractic boosts the immune system. Even one was a study done during the Spanish flu at the beginning of last century of how chiropractic adjustments helped the people that were going through that illness recover faster, less deaths. And then, of course, listen to your body. Yeah, you know, if your body's telling you that you shouldn't eat, because sometimes you need to fast while you're feeling ill, that we know that this happens. We see animals in the wild do it when they're ill. So you need to listen to your body. I know we've been taught a lot of things, but you gotta get better. We've got to get better at listening to that innate intelligence that's letting us know and guiding us on how to heal and recover naturally. So thanks for watching, everybody. There's so much that we can do to support our immune system, so much more than some of the things that are being suggested with just social distancing and masking. There's a lot you can do to actually support your body's natural ability to deal with microbes just on a cellular level. And I hope some of this information has added to your repertoire on how to support your immune health. And surely, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to come in and talk to Dr. J or I. We're here to help, and we love serving those in our community. Thanks, and have a great night.